in the future. So just one more minute to see if there are any other further participants joining us, and then we can get started. Okay, so let's get started. So first and foremost, just a real big welcome to everyone to this year's CSC e-learning advocacy course, Realising Street Connected Children's Rights through Human Rights Advocacy. It's a pleasure to have you all here. We are quite a small group today, so I'm going to keep it relatively informal. I'm going to start with a brief overview of what to expect today and the course. And then we'll have a section for us to meet and greet and get to know each other before then learning about some of the advocacy achievements of previous alumni, which I hope will provide some inspiration as to what it is you can achieve from the course this year. And then we'll have a quick look forward as well to the next session, as well as a little time to discuss the pitch, which is a new aspect of the e-learning course this year. In which we'll have a live competition where we can see and put into practice the skills that we've learned through the e-learning course this year. So yes, today's a chance for us to meet each other and hope we can spend some time in conversation. I know that the e-learning course might be an opportunity for you to enhance the skills that you have around advocacy, but it's also a really great opportunity for us to connect and to make connections. I know that CSC has really valued the opportunity to work more closely as part of the e-learning course with members of our network, with other organizations. And so I hope you also take the opportunity as well, perhaps through the forum on Moodle, or maybe through the WhatsApp group, or even by email as well. You can reach out to Abimbola and the rest of the team that way. And in terms of the course, so it might be the case that you're working through the course chronologically. Perhaps you're new to advocacy, or you just want to take a thorough chronological approach to it. If that's the case, then we hope that doing so will provide a sort of gentle movement from learning about the roots of human rights law and advocacy in the international stage to looking at it in the national and local, and then to developing our own advocacy plans. And as part of that, it might be that but it might be equally the case that you're relatively experienced with advocacy in the areas that you want to focus on, and particular modules that you want to focus on, which is also fine. One thing I will say about the course, though, is that in module 5 in particular, there are really substantive exercises that I really encourage you to undertake, in particular the problem and solution trees and the advocacy plans. And you're able to submit those draft documents to me and Abimbola to review, and also to course members at any stage of the course. But I reckon that if you're going to engage in any aspect of the course, that will be it. Really excitingly this year as well, the course has a number of new elements. So we're launching the CSC resource pack focused on participatory advocacy with street connected children, and that's really focused in module 3. And so I hope you take that opportunity, because that pack is not going to be officially available to the wider public until later this year. And really exciting as well this year to have a number of unique live sessions. So we're having dialogues with senior UN officials and child advocates, Anne Skelton, who's a Committee on the Rights of the Child member, and also Tomoya Abukata, who's the Special Rapporteur on Contemporary Forms of Slavery, and has recently drafted a report looking at the links between street connectedness and homelessness, among other things. So I really hope you take those opportunities to engage with the UN officials and ask your questions. There will be questions time during those sessions. And also we have a new session, two other new sessions focused on advocacy plans. So looking first and foremost at any questions that you might have about planning your advocacy at the advocacy surgery with Sean and I, who are members of CSC. You'll have the opportunity to submit questions by email ahead of those sessions, and also to engage with follow-up during the session itself. And also further to that, we've got the session on the pitch, which is the live competition that I've previously mentioned, and which I'll give a little bit more insight into towards the end of today. So I hope that's all clear. Feel free to connect with each other in the chat, ask any questions that you might have in the chat. But for now, perhaps we can do a little bit of a meet and greet. And maybe I can suggest that we introduce ourselves, give our name, our organization, and what it is we hope to learn from the advocacy, or to gain from the advocacy course this year. So if that sounds okay, I might start by looking through the chat, just in the order that it appears, if that's okay. So I've got Funmi. Funmi, do you want to go first, just to give it your name, your organization, and a little bit why you wanted to sign up to the e-learning course this year? Not sure. Maybe before we can come back to you. I can't see that. I'm not sure if you can hear us, but I'll send you a private message perhaps. So moving next downstream, Kelly. Floor is yours.
Hi there, sorry. My name is Kelly Strong. I'm the CEO of the Kenyan Children's Project. We're a UK-based charity.
I can see that you're talking, Kelly, but I can't hear you.
I can hear. Hi, Kelly.
Me now?
Yes.
Sorry, technical issues. My name is Kelly Strong. I'm the CEO of the Kenyan Children's Project. We're a UK charity. We're based out in Kenya, in Western Kenya, and we work with street children doing various activities. So I'm really looking forward to understanding more about how we can implement more advocacy on the UK side of the organisation, as most of our advocacy work is out in Kenya.
Wonderful. Thanks, Kelly. I'm really great to meet you. Just in terms of places in the advocacy course that you might want to focus on. So if you're looking more to do national advocacy, I would suggest maybe looking and focusing on module 3 onwards. But again, if international human rights law is not something you're familiar with, again, module 2 is also really handy to give you that grounding. But great to have you here, and looking forward to hearing more about your work and to getting to know you as well.
Thank you.
Next up, I've got Kelvin. Kelvin, are you there? The floor is yours, if so.
Yes, good morning, everyone, and good afternoon in Kenya. I'm Kelvin Wafula, the president of Aquafor Foundation Kenya. We are based in Bungoma County. We are really happy for the session. It is really beneficial. In fact, for the questions which I raised earlier, I've gotten the response through model 3. It has been really beneficial. Our focus on this advocacy, it will be beneficial to us to understand more about the issue of street children and their rights and their freedom, and to advocate for, always for their safety. We believe through the session we will have to develop more skills and more knowledge on dealing with the children in street situations. It's my pleasure to be in this forum today.
And it's wonderful to have you, Kelvin. Thank you for that. And next, working down my list, so Ophelia, would you like to share with us your name, your organization, and your hopes for undertaking the advocacy course this year?
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, all. Okay, so my name is Ophelia Alete. I am the advocate for Street Children Empowerment Foundation, Ghana. We are located in the hub of street connected children. We stay with them there. We have a very big facility that is open to the public and especially to them because most of these children do not have schools they go to. They don't have books to read. So we have a library by courtesy of Book Ed International. It's open to the public. They come, we help them with their assignments. Apart from that, we equally sponsor some of the children to go to school, and those who want to do skills training, we do that for them as well. I'm very excited to join the course because in Ghana, it's like street children, the phenomenon is becoming so rare, like so real, and it's been a pandemic, like it's a never-ending story. So would want to learn more on how to implement effective advocacy strategies that will draw the attention of government and especially break societal norms in our community, because we find ourselves in a community whereby children from latest by 16, if you are not pregnant, you don't have a child, you are automatically area we work, we have a lot of teenage girls who are pregnant and a lot of defilement or exploitation cases. So we have real issues on the ground that we really want to acquire more knowledge in tackling so that we can bring some relief to these children and give them the future and hope we all aim to do. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Ophelia. That was such a wonderful introduction to you and your organization. It sounds like you've already got some really clear advocacy objectives. Again, I mean, focusing on the national advocacy, from module 3 onwards, that really is where we look at how to address government and local communities in terms of advocacy. But again, as I advised previously, I mean, if you want to also get that thorough grounding in international law as well, module 2 is also of great assistance. But thank you, really, really wonderful introduction. Next, Phyllis, I wonder if you're there, if you'd like to give an introduction to you, yourself, and your organization. Phyllis, are you there?
Hi.
Hi, Phyllis.
Yes, Phyllis Awino from Bungoma County, from Aqua4 Foundation in Bungoma. I'm a new member in the team. My interest in joining the forum is that I've been passionate about serving the community, especially the vulnerable people in the community. Then this includes the street children, women, and youth. We find that in Bungoma County, there's an increasing number of street students in the streets, and they're being mistreated. So me being in the forum will enable me to understand more of the street children's rights and find a better way to handle them. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Phyllis. Wonderful to meet you. Looking forward to working with you and the team as well. Yeah, really great. Pooja, would you like to give a quick introduction to yourself and to Chetna?
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Pooja Singh, and I work with Chetna as a project head for 6 years. And Chetna basically works for street connected children in northern part of India. And especially we focus on education, protection, nutrition, and advocacy with national government.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pooja. And we'll also be hearing more from Pooja in a little bit as well. in terms of the advocacy achievements that Chetna has achieved. So Pooja is one of the alumni. Wonderful. And I have someone down as a Child Lifeline. Yemi, is that you? Would you like to give a quick introduction to yourself?
That's not me, but there's another participant from Child Lifeline.
Okay. Wonderful.
My name is Yemi Aileru, the program manager of Child Lifeline. I happened to join the advocacy e-learning program course last year, and immediately we started the training. We stepped it down with the staff and with the children, and we went out on advocacy program. What do we do in Child Lifeline? We work mainly with street-connected children, and we have a reception center, like a daycare center for the children on the street, that they can come, take a shower, have a meal, 2 meals per day. We give them breakfast, we give them lunch, and we allow them to rest. And we have a kind of numeracy and literacy class for them, then counseling. And what do we do majorly? We rescue, we reunite, and we rehabilitate. Reunification is done through home tracing. We go as far as looking for their parents to take them back. Then we advocate for the rights of the children. We have a center, a rehabilitation home in another location in Lagos that will take care of boys. And presently we have 13 boys under our care that are going to school and that are into vocational training. Our major focus is education through advocacy for the rights of the street-connected children in Lagos. Thank you.
Thanks, Yemi. Wonderful introduction. And yeah, what I'm tending to notice so far by speaking to all the participants is that there's a huge focus on education in your work, which I think is a really great opportunity to share learnings and share approaches as part of the course this year. So yeah, thank you so much, Yemi. Next up, let's see my list. Romain, would you like to give a quick introduction to yourself and to NM House? I know you're speaking a little bit as well.
Okay, I'm a talking pastor, so I'll be very brief. My name is Romain Leroy. I'm the founder and country director of NM House, a nonprofit in Cameroon. So we focus strictly on empowering street-connected children, and our projects are diversified clusters of specialized solutions. For instance, this year we are focusing much more on bringing the informal educational system to Cameroon through our partnership with the Streetwise organization from Belgium. And then we collaborate with other stakeholders to make sure we can empower the children in diversified fields of training, auto mechanic, carpentry, and agriculture. Meanwhile, we also collaborate with stakeholders in the domain of health to see how we can provide free medical services to the children. And one of our pillars has always been identity, and we really restructured the strategy for advocating for the legal status of children. That was after my completion of the e-learning course last year. And it helped us to really re-strategize the strategy and see how we can collaborate with governmental stakeholders to implement this. So I'll try to give more light when the alumni will be sharing. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Romain. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to hearing more from you very, very shortly. Thank you. And Selma, would you like to give a quick introduction to yourself, your organization, and why it is you decided to undertake the e-learning course this year? Okay, I think we might have to come back to Selma. Santigi, are you there? Would you like to give a quick introduction to yourself?
Hi,
Hello.
Stephen. Sorry,
Hi,
I'm trying to find a quiet place.
no problem.
I apologize. So there was someone else from our organization that was on this call. I thought she would be the one to introduce herself. So good morning, everyone. My name is Salma Juma from Isawali Empowerment Initiative here in Kano. Yes, please. So the purpose of our joining this training, because I think a lot of us from our organization took interest in it and we have joined. We are actually working with a lot of street children. I think one project that we just concluded was about teaching them, was about creating awareness at the community level on their rights and also the safety of the street child. So I look forward to sharing learnings and learning from every other person on this call.
Amazing. Thank you, Salma. Thank you for rushing to a quiet place very quickly. That's appreciated.
Thank you.
And so Tantigi and Sadia, we've got you left for introductions. Tantigi, would you like to go with the quick introduction?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tantigi Bayodimbia. I'm the director and founder for Young Child Foundation based in Israel, Africa. Our work on street children is encompasses both. We use sports as a means of advocacy program, and also we provide skill training such as catering, tailoring, computer training, and then also hairdressing. So we also have schools that we run in the various communities because we realize that with just 6 teachers, we can able to provide education to over 500 children by paying teachers' salaries and also working with the government of Australian, and then to able to provide or to recruit teachers through the payroll, government payroll. So this is our vision, and then also we've been working with CSC. We have provided various skill training for street children in the area of driving and also carpentry and also tailoring and then catering as well. So I thank you all.
Thanks, Tantigi. Good to see you again. And Sadia, are you there to give a quick introduction to yourself, your organization, and your reasons for taking the e-learning course?
Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever that we're joining. I'm Sadia Mertala from Kano. I'm actually in the same organization with Selma. Selma just talked about what we do at IWE, Isawali Empowerment Initiative. I think I share in what Selma said. We're looking forward to learn how we can expand our knowledge on advocacy, both local and national level, and also sharing these learnings with our team here and across the people that we work with. Thank you.
Well, lovely to have you, Sadia. And so, yes, anyone who hasn't been able to introduce themselves, perhaps your connection's not great, it'd be wonderful if you could just pop a little message in the chat with your name, your organization, and the reasons and your hopes for taking the CSC e-learning course this year. But now, just moving on to our next item. So we have Pia McRae here as the CEO of CSC. And yeah, Pia, over to you for a few words.
Brilliant. Good. You need to go off, I think. Are we good there? Sorry, Stephen and I are in the same room, but sitting on 2 laptops, so getting feedback. First, I just want to say how brilliant to be with you all today. Really special. I know that there are more people on the course who, people are squeezing in this course on busy schedules. So we'll be recording this session so people can see it, because I know how important it is that people do it. And I just want to congratulate everyone who's here today and those who are not able to make it today, but I know trying to fit the course in around their jobs, for trying to step back and do this piece of work and think about long-term advocacy, because in the end, it is by both doing immediate change now and taking action, but also thinking about what we can do to sustain long-term change, that we make a difference in the lives of the children who you all care about so much. This is our 3rd year of running the advocacy learning course, and it's been really exciting to see how people have used it to grow their own skills, to make connections with other people and learn from each other. Oh, excuse me, got a sneeze coming, but also to be inspired by other people. I wanted just to talk about 3 things that I think are really, really important when we think about advocacy for this group of children. The first is really thinking about why it is so specifically important to advocate, especially to governments, and to be thinking about the accountability of governments and duty bearers for this group of children. There are groups of children who have, there's some failure in the sense of having protection and guardianship. And that's obviously a concern for all children, but I think who are having, you know, issues in terms of guardianship, who maybe have lost their parents, there's something's gone wrong in the family. But I think even more so with children who are on the street, not only is there an accountability from the state to give them support, alternative care, etc. But I think, you know, I started before this call, I was chatting to Romain, who jumped on the call early, and he was talking about the children he had been talking to in Cameroon and the challenges they were having with the police and being taken into custody, being asked to give money to be released. So the very people who should be protecting this group of children are sometimes the people who actually can cause them harm. And I think that's why it's so important for us to work together as a group of people, both to advocate for the delivery of those services, which you're all doing so brilliantly. You've talked a lot about education. There's been talk about nutrition from Pooja from Chetna, etc. But also to think about those big risks that are posed to children of actually, and that can be people who are acting on behalf of the state. So that's my first reason why advocacy is particularly important for this group of children, and why having people, a group of people who come together and think about these issues is so very important. I think the second thing I wanted to talk about is we talk about in CSC, we talk about trying to work from the streets to the corridors of power. We're really trying to work to kind of understand what are the reality for children on the street. Maybe what's the most important thing for them is to have some street lighting put in place. Maybe the most important thing for them is that the shelter doesn't get locked 24 hours a day. Maybe the most important thing for them is that they can access maybe a different vocational education. It can be quite local, quite specific, but really trying to see that in the context of this international rights architecture, and these children deserve our support and have the potential to have promising futures if we can provide that support. And I think let's not be afraid of real, tangible, local advocacy. That's what really drives change and makes a difference. And that all adds up to the change that, you know, you do. Small local initiatives that can lead into maybe municipal level initiatives, that can lead into national level initiatives, and then that can lead into us internationally sharing things and really seeing change on a global basis. And the third thing I just wanted to talk about was listening to the children. I had a session yesterday with a group of people from a company who wanted to provide us support. And one of them said to me, "So Pia, for you and the organizations you work with, is it that children need to be both seen and heard?" Because in England, traditionally, we often say children should be seen and not heard. And I said, yeah, that's exactly it. We're both trying to make this group of children visible to those who can provide the support and protection that's needed, but actually listen to them. As some people mentioned empowerment today, but really understand their perspectives and help them be participating in key decisions to affect their lives. They may not always be able to make the decision they want. Sometimes they may need help in making good decisions, but really trying to engage them as active stakeholders in those key decisions. So those are really the 3 things that I wanted to share. I'm really looking forward to listening to Romain and Pooja and Yemi to hear about some of their experiences. They're brilliant, brilliant members of our network. and looking forward to hearing how this whole course pans out. And I will join some of the masterclasses, which I think will be very exciting.
Fantastic, Pia. And yeah, that final point on child participation and making sure that children are able to be active stakeholders in decisions affecting them. I think that's something that we're trying to reinforce this year as part of this e-learning course with the launch and inclusion of the resource pack. So yeah, definitely an area to focus it in module 3 for those particularly interested in child participation. Wonderful. So yes, now is time to get some inspiration from previous alumni of the course. Starting with Pooja, would you like to take the floor? Over to you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to.
Oh, Pooja, I think you're on mute.
Okay.
And I think Abimbola will be sharing your slides just shortly.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
No, can't hear you.
Yes, Pooja, we can hear you.
No, can't hear you yet, Pooja.
Oh, I can hear.
Oh,
Stephen,
yes, now we can hear you.
Having some challenges there.
Yeah.
So I was saying thank you, CSC, for giving this opportunity to talk about our experience. So as per the course, last year we have enrolled for this course. So the major takeaway by end of this course was for us is to how we can actively involve children in the advocacy procedure which we followed in Chetna. Generally, initially, what we used to do, we take the feedbacks from children, and based on that, we build the action plan or strategy for our long year advocacy thing. But since last year, we have actively involving children and taking them to the stakeholders to talk about themselves. What is their major challenges? What is the solution according to them? Because they need a support and they are in a better place to share what they think is the best solution for them. So for instance, if there is a family who is living under the flyover of a city, so they understand what is the best solution to give them as a shelter or as a food or as a security. As a third person, we can only just say that take this family and put in a shelter or maybe temporary shelter, but we need to listen them and put them in the front with the stakeholder to demand what they think is the right for them. So this was our major thing, to actively involve community people and children in the across all our advocacy meetings. So in the last 1 year, more than 29 meetings where children actively participated in high-level meeting, whether it was with district magistrate of the city, or whether it's a police department or child protection system. We try to keep the children in front and have a dialogue between them. So this was the one thing which we actively doing. And one more thing, instead of just calling or seeking help from the stakeholder or a policy making, when we face the problem, we also try to involve them by if there is any kind of positive changes in the life of children. So they are now able to involve in both kind of aspect of child, where child is making progress, they are able to see by themselves, or if the child is facing a challenges, they are also able to support, because generally we just go to them and ask for a help when there is a challenges, but we are not going to show, we generally not go to show them that this is the result when you have supported the children. So showing them the good case studies, success case studies, and some kind of information which also motivate them to do better, because they are able to see that there is a result when they are helping them. So this was one thing. And apart from that, as we gain the knowledge through this course and everything. So we try to inculcate the same information in the local language to the community member who are a bit of have a education status, who can read at least in their local language, which is Hindi. So we try to give them also the same knowledge which we are getting from this course, so they can spread the word, whatever we are as a team member, I am learning from this course. So this was one thing. We try to spread the knowledge and share the information in local language. So literally I translated some of the chapters in Hindi to share with them so they can read it out and gain the knowledge. So if I talk about in terms of major achievement which we have achieved through this course support, so more than 416 children in 6 months got the school admission, because we tried to make an advocacy plan with children where we took the children to the education department and asked them to request them what is the problem you are facing and what is the solution. So the education department helped these children and 416 children got the mainstream education. They got the enrollment in the schools. And apart from that, Chetna is like recently got a chairmanship of National Action Coordination Group to End Violence Against Children in South Asia, which is a civil society network where we got a huge scale in terms of across India. Chetna can hold a meeting with stakeholders without any notice, because we have a position of a chairperson. So generally we will be working on 5 themes, which is a child marriage, child trafficking, child labor, corporal punishment, and environment and children. So as a member, we are now able to talk to the other states, local NGOs to work on these issues, and then collectively on a national level, we can share the finding with the national government. So this is also one of the achievements which we have achieved in the last year as a advocacy efforts. And through our, apart from this, we also have a very solid instrument which we call a Balaknama, where children themselves write their voices, their issues. And this recent month in March, they have received All India Championship Award in children category to raise awareness on child rights. So children got the award from the National Commission of Child Rights for Protection. So these were the major highlights which we are able to achieve and able to impact a large number of children. And currently we are working dedicatedly on unique identification number enrollment, which is kind of identity proof in India. It's called Aadhaar or either unique identification number. So we are working with government to mainstream the guidelines for the children, especially who are living on the streets, because there is a general guidelines. For instance, if I need to do any updation in my unique ID, I can get it done easily because I have everything in terms of address proof, in terms of residence proof. But we need to make a guidelines for those who don't have these kind of such documents and what can be the steps. So we are working with the government to come up with the solution, especially for these category of children, because generally they make the rules for general population, but we need to cater and provide the specialized solution for them. So we are working for them to get solution for that, and we are able to successful somehow and some extent, but it's a ongoing process with them. Yeah. So apart from there are some pictures where we are inside, like children are going to the school. We are holding a consultations with the higher authority. These are very district level or city level authorities who are in a position of authority, who can directly issue the circulars, right? So initially what we were facing a problem, schools were saying us that they won't be able to take a admission because child don't have any identity proof, and maybe they are Bangladeshi or they have migrated to nearby countries. So we approached to the education department and requested, as long as child is on the land of India, it is our responsibility to provide them all the facilities, which are no matter whether they are from nearby country, whether they are from India, they need to get the same facilities. So they have issued a circular to local schools to provide them the school enrollment. So this was the one of the very major success for us to, because that letter just helped us to enter any school and facilitate the admission for these children. So yeah, this is from my side. Yes.
Amazing, wonderful. Thank you so much, Pooja. I mean, that touches on so many things that's so relevant to organizations working with street connected children. You know, engagement at the national level, municipal level, access to legal identity, access to information, access to education. It's all really great work. And I hope it's really inspiring to participants joining us today as to what can be achieved and at what level and in what area. I think that such a phenomenal introduction and really inspiring. Thank you, Pooja. Next to Romain, just to give a little bit of his achievements in Cameroon. So Romain, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, thanks, Romain.
Okay. Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm Romain from Cameroon. In my slides, you're not going to see more details about who we are. So in a nutshell, NM House is a non-profit, and we focus strictly in empowering street-connected children through specialized solutions in the domain of capacity building and advocating to make sure their rights are respected, implemented, and fulfilled. Stephen? Okay, thank you. So before getting into the e-learning course last year, I think together with the team here in Cameroon, where mostly we had an idea, we had a burden for this category of people, and we jumped into it with the passion and the energy and the resources that we had, and we started doing a lot of things. We're involved into activities in the domain of health, in the domain of trainings, and usually we just complain about the government stakeholders in the background, and we didn't even know how to communicate with the government. So after going through the e-learning course, one of the key achievements or updates that we had in our strategy had to do with making sure in whatever we're doing, how are we making sure the rights of the children are being protected and upheld? And because the fact that we're giving them health services as NM House, or that we're calling on donors to do that, the situation is really not changing. So it called for attention. What do we need to do to make sure maybe who has to do this gets to the point where his attention is being called, noticed that he needs to get to do what he has to do. So for instance, we have been addressing letters to ministers in Cameroon just to make sure they do what they have to do. And I think we only learned that after participation in the CSC course. Now, we also needed to get to the details of the specific needs of the street-connected children. And one of the fundamental reasons for this is at times we noticed we were getting to the children with what we think, but we didn't take time to do some research to really identify that each child needs to be treated kind of case specific. So after going through the advocacy course, these were some of the adjustments that we did. Next slide, Stephen, please. Or is it that it's slow from this end? Okay. So another thing too was the child-centered approach, which I would say we never even considered this before, but the child-centered approach and the adoption of the General Comment number 21 has been a key thing that has brought a drastic change to advocacy strategy. For instance, the content of the General Comment 21 has been one of the main documents that we always highlight in each and every one of our letters. And as such, it's very easier to address stakeholders. We simply just remind them that these were the promises you made. These are the rights of the children. It's not like it's an NM House something, but it's a higher hierarchy. It's a group of organizations, of institutions that have been able to put this down. So it's of high value that they take this into consideration. So, and plus when we add on to that reports of the conversation we've had with the children, it makes it very easy for the government and whichever stakeholder is supposed to do what we are calling out for them to do. Next slide, Stephen, please. Yeah, another thing too is conducting research and analysis. Usually we just sat and had discussions in the board and kind of just did some basic Google research and maybe from report of our field staff of 1 or 2 experiences, and then we set objectives. But now we've decided to take to invest more resources into analysis and research because it's essential. We notice we're wasting a lot of resources in quadrants that were not really of higher priority for the children. So we make sure before engaging in a project now, we research, we do a lot of background research, and then we get the necessary information before implementing it. And part of it, a way that we express that is, I think, coming from the e-learning course, we were introduced into the problem tree and the solution tree. So this really helps us to always be ready to paint a big picture of the problem that we have in front of us. And then when we do research, we are able to complete the problem tree, and then we move on to painting a better picture of the solution tree. As such, we are moving steadily, knowing that we are attacking specific problems, specific root causes in order to achieve specific solutions. Next slide, 7. So, like I said, engaging the government or national authorities, you know, in Cameroon is a normal thing or a usual thing for us to criticize the government when we are seated among ourselves and at times going on social media and saying things. But the question is, one of the questions we asked ourselves after this e-learning course was, all what we have been doing, is the government hearing? Are they listening to us? How do we make sure they can hear us? How do we make sure not just the government, but every other stakeholder that is supposed to be involved here, how do we make sure they hear us? Or who would they listen to? And that had to do with answering the 7 key questions. In each project, in each evaluating meeting, before taking any action, we make sure the 7 key questions are answered. And once we can answer the 7 key questions, it really produces more fruits. I would say before the e-learning course, I practically didn't receive lots of response from government stakeholders each time we addressed them with letters. But after this, I think it has reshaped even the way we design and draft our contents. And from other templates that are benefit and the experience of other members like Santigi and from Misope, I've been following what they're doing online. At times I don't even need to get to them, but I just follow the reports of what they're doing. And then it helps a lot to see how we can readjust some things within our institution. So it's not just about what I got from the course, but one of the key fundamental things that has reshaped our strategy too is the network that we benefit of as you're a member of this course. Next slide, Stephen. So I would say if there is one main message that I will leave to every other person which is coming to join the e-learning course, I am certain that your strategy will be readjusted because you're becoming a member of a family, and there is nothing as beautiful as the seasonal, will I say seasonal, the interquartal meetings, fellowships that we have with Stephen and the entire West African team. sharing our updates, sharing our experiences. This really helps the way we implement and contextualize the strategy. So it has really been of great help to NM House. And to me in particular, I can say my leadership skills have been more poised over the time since I was blessed with this. So I can guarantee that we're at the right place. Thank you.
I mean, what can I say? That was just a wonderful exposition of a child rights approach to advocacy, and a really insightful as well, pinpointing of areas to focus on, and that really helped you out in terms of the content on the advocacy course. So thank you so much for that, and really, really great to hear, and wonderful to have you as part of this the community as well, and thank you for your contribution. And then finally, in terms of alumni, last but not least, Yemi, we'd like to hear from you in terms of your advocacy achievements. I know we're running a little bit behind schedule, so it might be that some aspects of the updates will be provided by email, I think, after the course today. But Yemi, over to you to talk about your advocacy achievements.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Yemi Aileru from Child Lifeline. I'm the program manager. Before the e-learning course last year, we've been doing advocacy in our own little way, but the course really opened our eyes to some aspects that we left without knowing that it was necessary or needed. And what was the aspect that we left? Child participation. In any advocacy program or whatever you want to do, the children too, street connected children, should be made to know how to ask for their rights in a more unique way. And that was what we went into immediately after the e-learning course. We sat down as a team and we looked at it, that how do we do our advocacy better than what we've been doing? And myself and my team, we went into a kind of training with our children. We use the advocacy modules. You know, we have several modules in the park given to us. We trained the children on advocacy. And let me just go through the introduction. The children having been trained, the resource park training on advocacy gave us an overview as to what to do when carrying out advocacy, and deliver a step-down training. That was what I said. And among our achievements, I would like to call on Fumilola Morakinyo, because she was the major player in the children's training. Because you need to train the children. The children are part and parcel of the program. She was the major player then that worked on the training with the children. So I'll call on Morakinyo to talk about what she did, then later I'll come up.
Okay, so what we tried to do using the resource park was to create awareness in the children about their rights. And after doing that, we were able to carry out an advocacy visit with the children to the Child Protection Network in Lagos State. And the picture clearly shows that visit to the Child Protection Network in Lagos State. So it was not just about theory, we actually went out to do the practical aspect of it. Please, next slide. So development of listening and communication skills. As we all know, street children, they have very short attention span. And so that's why most of them, you find that they struggle even in school, because the time lag between when they were in normal school and on the street is quite large. So it's always difficult to bring them back. So they don't have this long attention span. And so during this training, we're able to get that for them to develop this skill to listen and then to also communicate. Most of them are usually very shy to talk to strangers outside and all of those because of the stigma and all that comes with it. So they were able to develop this skill. They developed, you can see they sat down, and then we had a post-class assessment of what we had taught, and it was it was interesting to know that most of them were actually following the class and could tell what they were taught. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're able to, because of the training we had last time, we're able to like open up it opened us up to access other stakeholders. We were able to like think outside the box of those that were actually reaching out to previously. So we had we're able to identify a larger array of stakeholders in street child programming. Next slide, please. Also, so going out like this kind of expose the children to meet with agencies, authorities that are concerned about their lives and their welfare. So it was not just about we talking to them about these people. It was more of them meeting them themselves to see that these are people that actually can influence change for them. So they went out on this particular occasion to meet these people. And so collaboration with collaboration with relevant authorities. Previously we were Previously we didn't even think we should do an advocacy to NAPTI. That's the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons. It was not part of our thinking, but due to the training we got, we're able to open up to involve more stakeholders, and it's yielded a lot of results. And so it helped us to collaborate with more people and get better results. And we had like the National Population Commission. All right, so she'll take
from here. I'll take it. We went out on advocacy visit to Ministry of Youth and Social Development. This is the ministry in charge of the children generally in Lagos State. And we went there to inform them that these children too, they have their rights. And in most cases, in fact, when they are sending memos out, they forget that there's street connected children in Lagos. But with our advocacy visit, they promised us that in any way that we need their support, they will give us. Then we went to Ministry of Education. In Ministry of Education, we realized that, education is a kind of core program in Child Lifeline. We place back our children back to school. You can't just be roaming about. Presently, we have placed back 100 children, even more than that, in our community, in our community. So we went to them because when we take these children out of the street, we find out that placements, we have to wait for another academic session. Even when you wait, there are some bottleneck that, though they said compulsory free education, but education is not all that free. There are some hidden charges that they will charge you to pay. And these are some of the things that is keeping these children away from attending schools. So we went to Ministry of Education and we had a kind of advocacy visit with them. We told them of the challenges the children from the streets are facing. And they promised us that they are going to look into it. Ministry of Education are the ones handling secondary schools, where SUBEB, State Universal Basic Education, are the ones at the body handling primary education. Apart from that, they will request from some documents. They will ask you to bring GLASMA, they will have LASRA, they will ask you to bring this tax clearance, where the parents of these children cannot even afford it. So we had a kind of advocacy visit, and we told the government, we are standing in as a stakeholder, as a major stakeholder in the affairs of street connected children in Lagos, and we want a situation, the government will help us to do away with all these hidden charges. And I'll tell you that we placed back the children without paying a dime. We did not pay any money. All these hidden charges were waived for us because of advocacy program. Also, the children identity is, national identity is something that the children need, birth identity, and they need it for placement in school. Unfortunately, you have to pay a token of 1,500. We went into National Population Commission and we told them that these children should be given this document free of charge. And we were able to get this document for our children free. So this advocacy training has really helped Child Lifeline to mediate or to speak on the right of street-connected children in Lagos. Next slide. State recognition. Through the various advocacy visits carried out by our organization, we are now recognized as a major stakeholder in street-connected children's programming in Lagos. They will call us, Child Lifeline, what do you have to say? Any advice, any, and it has not been like that before. Also, part of what we did not really put as our achievement, the children formed a parliament. We have Child's Parliament, where they sit down to discuss issues affecting them. And they have executives that are working. They meet regularly on their rights and they discuss issues that are affecting them. Like the International Day of Street Children, we met with the Children Parliament, and they're the ones that even suggested that we should go into the community and talk about kidnapping, because it's happening right now in Nigeria. Children are being kidnapped. So during the last International Day of Street Children, we went into the community, we met with relevant stakeholders within the community, and we talk on how they can protect, how they can provide a safe place, how they can safeguard the children. So thank you. That is what we have done so far.
Wow, thank you so much, Yemi. That was a real tour de force of all the work that you did. And I think what's really clear from that is the need to how things can move, from access to information, from rights training for street connected children themselves to that national level advocacy, and that sort of journey from working directly with street connected children to then being influential on their rights at the national level, I think is super interesting and really inspiring, and a real sort of insight into how advocacy at all levels is sort of very interconnected. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Really, really great.
Thank you too.
Thank you everyone for coming today. I know that we're 3 minutes over so far, and that there were some other elements I wanted to cover, including a bit of question and answer time with the alumni. However, what I might suggest is that you submit any questions or any discussion points that you have, either into the WhatsApp group or via email, and I'm happy to share them that way. Yeah, so maybe we can move forward on that front. And then in terms of giving you an update about the pitch and what to expect or prepare for the session with Abimbola on the pitch, we'll share more information about that with you via email to help you prepare and know what to expect for that session, which looks like a great session, a live competition with prizes taking place in a couple of weeks. And finally, just in terms of what's next, so if you're working through the course chronologically, you might be coming to the end of module 1, looking at module 2. No worries if not. Next week, however, we will be having the session with Professor Anne Skelton, who's a committee member on the Child Rights Committee. So if you're unfamiliar with international human rights law, you might want to take a look at that module in preparation for that session. You'll be free to ask questions of Anne further to the dialogue that we have next week. And finally, just to say, so Anne is a very busy person, as I'm sure you can imagine. So actually,
Stephen, I can't hear
today
you.
instead of the Monday. Any inconvenience? Apologies if that causes any inconvenience, but we will record the session as well. So if you're unable to attend, we will be able to share that recording.
Stephen, you timed out for a bit. Could you take that again? We didn't get the new dates.
Oh, apologies. Yeah, the internet's a bit unstable here this morning. Professor Anne Skelton session, it will be on the Tuesday at 12:30 instead of the Monday. I'll send an email around just to confirm, and apologies for any inconvenience. But again, the session will be recorded if you're not able to attend as a result. I'll also change the calendar invite. So thank you to everyone for coming today. It's so great to have you all in one place and to hear about your experiences, your organizations, and also thank you so much to the alumni as well. I hope they provided a source of inspiration going forward with the course. So thank you to everyone, and I hope they enjoy the rest of your day. Great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.